Hello, good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. This bulletin is coming to you live from our studios here at Kokomlemle in Accra on digital address GA0993341 on Joy 99.7 FM. It's also live on Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi, affiliates across the country on ABN Radio in London and around the world at myjoyonline.com. The news is brought to you by UMB Bank, UMB Speed Up, Digibank, Let's Go and Telesol 4G, just a touch. Coming up.
After all this is over, Dagbang will be Dagbang again.
For me, the most important thing is that we put behind us those disturbances and forge ahead.
Enskinment of new Dagbang King on the horizon as elders in Yendi prepare to announce their choice from 4 shortlisted personalities up for selection as the next Yana. We're live in Yendi as family of slain Tiger IPI undercover investigator Ahmed Hussein Swale prepare to bury him later today. We'll hear from family members who say his death will bring untold hardship on them as he was the breadwinner.
The family will miss me a lot because I can describe him as a breadwinner of the family. He has about 8 children that he was taking care of. He has 4 and he adopted additional children.
We have details live from our reporter as the government delegation visited the family house earlier today. Former 2nd Deputy Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Esiama, reviews how he and his family spent nights crying when he was forced to resign.
So we cried alone in the house. And there were days I wondered whether these people knew what I was going through in our family.
And in sports.
Now, the build-up to Sunday's CAF Confederation Cup playoff second leg between Kotoko and Cotton Sport from Cameroon has hit fever pitch as fans in Kumasi are itching to paint the Bavaria Stadium red.
And later in the bulletin.
Hello, everyone. I'm Komla Dumont. It's a pleasure to be with you. I must first start by apologizing by not being physically present there with you.
Remembering Komla Afwerka Dumont, the African journalist who told the African story with passion. We have all that and more here on the Midday News with me, Emefa Apau. And in our very first story, the enskinment of a new Dagbang King is on the horizon as elders in northern regional town of Yendi prepare to announce who they have eventually settled on from 4 personalities up for selection as the next Yana. The 4 include Savulugu Chief Abdullahi Mahama, Tampalina Na Alhassan Andani, Bolinglana Abdullahi Mahama, and Pupumkuna Na Abdullahi Yakubu Andani. One of them will be settled on as soon as rituals are currently ongoing in the Bewa Palace. We'll get the latest on this shortly from my colleague Justice Bedu, who is leading our team in Yendi covering this historic funeral for us. But first, here's a wrap of yesterday's funeral.
A grand entrance of chiefs and their traditional warriors heralding what is a historic moment in Dagbang. It's been 17 years of wait for the funeral of a king whose gruesome killing shook the foundations of this land. In the period between 2002 and now, hundreds of lives lost in bloody conflict over who would succeed Yana Yakubu Andani II.
We thank God and we are very grateful.
Bushira Abdul Majid, like many of the young people here today, were very young when the Yana died and can't wait for the wave of opportunities that peace here would bring to them.
We know after all this is over, Dagbang will be Dagbang again. With the youth, development will go on and everything will move on smoothly. So we are very happy and we pray it continues. After all this funeral rites, a new Yana will be installed and peace and unity continues.
The people who have thronged this palace today for this funeral include top shots from the government and the main opposition party, the National Democratic Congress.
As a son of Dagbang, I feel happy, I feel humbled that we have had this, occasion that indeed has been done successful. Even though prior to this we had some disturbances, but for me, the most important thing is that we put behind us those disturbances and forge ahead.
Now, with this important hurdle successfully crossed, the gates are open for a new Yana to be announced.
The people here in Yendi can afford to die
dance after this very, very historic funeral. After all, the peace they've been praying for decades may well be on the horizon now. I'm joining them. Justice Baidu, Joy News, Yendi.
And obviously overtaking by excitement, Justice Baidu there. We'll get to him live shortly, but the selection of the new Yana comes after yesterday's historic funeral, coming 17 years after the overlord of the area was killed in the bloody chieftaincy conflict. As and when we're able to raise the justice, we'll go back to Yendi. But away from that, family members of slain member of Anas, Aremi Yao Anas's investigative team have described him as a breadwinner and a helper. They say his death means difficult economic times for his family in the near future. The deceased, Ahmed Hussein Swale, was shot and killed by two unidentified assailants as he left his family house, ostensibly to cater for his sick child Wednesday evening. Speaking to Joy News, brother of the deceased, Al-Hassan Yumus, revealed he was the one providing the needs of his 4 biological children, 4 adopted children, 2 wives and some members of the family. One of his adopted children is in his final year at SHS with 2 one-year-old babies.
The family will miss me a lot because I can describe him as a breadwinner of the family. Aside from his children, there were other family members who were dependent on him. I know as Muslims per our religion, we believe in this extended family system. So he was taking care of other people aside from the immediate family. He has about 8 children that he was taking care of. He has 4 and he adopted additional children. Yeah. Even we those who are sitting here, like we said the other day, anytime we have a problem, a colleague of ours have a problem, Ahmed was always on top of when it comes to contribution.
You have Al-Hassan Yumus, his brother of late Ahmed Hussein Swale. My colleague Maxwell Agbagba is at the family house as we speak and joins us with more on this. Maxwell, so you've been at the family house, like I said. We are told preparations are underway to bury him this afternoon. Tell us a bit more about it.
Well, yes, family members of Ahmed Hussein Swale are seated outside under 3 canopies, waiting for the team dispatched to the police hospital morgue to return with the remains for burial at the Medina Cemetery after Juma prayers. Those who've been speaking to, as you rightly heard, have been extolling his virtues, saying he's always ready to help people. Just some minutes ago, I saw a team from the Criminal Investigation Department returning to the crime scene to gather more evidence. At the moment, family members are only waited for the remains to arrive for the burial process to start. A lot more of them are also arriving here at the family house.
Now, we're told that the information minister and his deputy visited the family house. What have they been saying?
Well, it was a brief interaction with the family and the information minister, Kojo Ponkruma, and his deputy Pius Haji there. They came here to commiserate with the family, and the family says they will. The family says they will make sure they brief them on whatever that happens and the next action they would want to take. So they just thanked them, and then they had to leave. So it was a very brief meeting in the family.
Earlier, we were wondering if the police had actually released the bodies to the family. Does it mean that the police is done with the investigation in terms of autopsy and all? Do we know?
Exactly. So the family had wanted to get the remains yesterday, but it wasn't released to them because the police said they wanted to finalize the processes. We want to believe that, yes, that has been completed because we understand that the body is going to be released to them today. So we want to believe that, yes, the police are done with the necessary information or investigation that they had wanted to carry out using the remains.
So finally, Maxwell, yesterday we were told that the youth of the area were up in arms. They wanted to attack the Oman FM building and all. What information have you picked up on that?
Well, the family members are aware of that particular situation, and they are trying as much as possible. I mean, they tried as much as possible yesterday to de-escalate the situation. Even here on the ground today, they are very careful as to who speaks, to the media. So we had the head of the family calling all the press and briefing us, telling us that they do not want to, escalate the situation. So they are pleading that we speak to just one designated person, one person to speak to the issues. Even for that person who has been assigned to speak to the media, he wouldn't speak until the barrier processes are over. As you can hear in the background, some horns coming through right now. The remains just arrived here on the ground at the family house. I can see about 5 to 10 motorbikes. The heirs also carrying the remains of Ahmed Hussein Swale just arrived on the ground. I said 550 motorbikes, but now I can count about 20 motorbikes accompanying the heirs carrying the remains.
Maxwell Agbagba there following proceedings there as Ahmed Swale heads to the cemetery for his final interment. Of course, we'll bring you more in our subsequent bulletins, but let's head back to Yendi because the enskinment of the new Dagbon King is on the horizon as elders in Yendi prepare to announce their choice from 4 shortlisted personalities up for selection as the next Yana. Justice Beidou is on the grounds for us. Justice, is the announcement out yet? Do we know who the next Yana will be?
It is not out yet, but we are still standing by. In the coming hours, we are told that announcement should be made because we just had the Tolon Na, who is one of the key people in this process, and his entourage drive into the Yendi township, which signals that we are really close to that point. The 4 people who are in this contest to have the selection made are all relatives of some sort. They are all related to each other. We have 3 of them coming from the Andani Gate and then 1 coming from the Abdu Gate. The Savluguna, who is one of them, is an uncle to Yana Yakubu Andani, whose killing happened in 2002 and whose final funeral rite was performed yesterday. And then he then is a grand uncle, if you like, to the Kampen Kuyana, the son of Yana Yakubu Andani, who performed his father's funeral yesterday. We also have the Kampion Lana, Alhassan Andani. Mind you, it's not the Alhassan Andani of Stanbic Bank, even though he is also a chief involved in this process. He's not the one. This is the Kampion Lana, who is also called Alhassan Andani, who is also involved in this contest. And then we have the Bolen Lana, who is the son of the Mamad Abdullah, who is also the regent from the Abdu side of this divide. But as I speak to you, the Yendi township itself is upbeat. Everybody is in wait of this very, very big announcement. All the people I've been speaking with, many of the young people who say their development and the town's development has been held back by this very, very bloody chieftaincy conflict, are now saying that we want peace, and we think this announcement could open the gate for the peace that we've all been looking for, MFA.
Of course, we all await that announcement. Justice Beidou is on the ground and definitely will bring us more as and when we get it. Now, youth of Alavanyo in the Hohoe municipality of the Volta region are asking government to set up an independent body to investigate circumstances that led to the death of 3 people after they clashed with the police. Addressing a news conference in Alavanyo, Jogbeje, spokesperson for the youth, Matthias Apionchi, claimed the police team had gone to the community in connection with the cannabis cultivation deal and not to make arrests in connection with the illegal possession of arms.
A police officer in Ashama in the Greater Accra region gave his brother, one Stephen Awana, an amount of 20,000 to farm wheat for him at Alavanyo. The brother, who already owed some of the youth in the business, had to pay his balance to them, but was resistant. So the boys harvested 15 sticks of the marijuana Amnesia Haze to compensate for their balance. After the actual harvest was made, the police part was sent to him. He wasn't happy that he made losses on his investment, so he had to call in the regional police commander, DCOP Francis Doku, to arrest the boys who harvested 15 sticks to compensate for their money owed them by the police brother. This was the arrest DCOP Francis Doku gave the fraudulent headline, "Stockpile of Ammunition Intercepted in Alavanyo Jogbeje in relation to OT referendum." He later extorted over 20,000 from the boys and left them. We did not talk. Due to the Ashaman police officer and DCOP Francis Poku's greed, they came back to Alavanyo Jogbeje on Sunday 13 January to destroy other people's farm just because they made losses in their investment. They had burnt the farms, including a maize farm. There are pictorial evidence. Even if you want, we can lead you to the farm. When going to the bush, they had camouflaged the Ashaman police brother in an army uniform This angered the youth in the farm, and the scaffold ensued, resulting in the arrest of 2 of the boys. While this was happening, ladies and gentlemen,
so these are allegations we are unable to verify, but we will definitely get to the bottom of it. But the youth have also vowed to go all lengths to seek justice for the 3 who lost their lives.
Later in the evening, a reinforced joint police military force under the leadership of ASP Asifri, who is in charge of Alavanyo Nkunya peacekeeping unit station in Kunya, returned to Alavanyo to meet with the chief, but rejected seat offered to him and his men, and complained about conduct of the town folks who were hooting at them. The officers, while starting their vehicle, shot into the crowd indiscriminately and killed one Atakofi who was recovering from some malaria and had only walked to the roadside to buy banku, and Confidence, who is a native of Anfuega, Wadamahe, on the street of Jogbeje, and injured 6 more. If the presidency, the Interior Ministry, and the RESEC will listen to the side of conflicting reports given by one man, DCOP Francis Doku, then the innocent youthful soul that were lost and injured would be served justice, and will be very much disappointed in the power that is vested in the president and the national security to protect and defend the right of the citizens of this country. Audio conversation which proves to the point being raised shall be made available to the national security and the police hierarchy for officers involved, including the Volta Regional Police Commander DCOP Frandoku, who has been contradicting himself in the media since this issue happened, to be brought to book.
You are the spokesperson for the Alavanyo Youth, Matthias Apoinchi. We are definitely, we are making contact to be able to speak to the appropriate authorities on this matter as well. But away from that, let's head to Kumasi now, where residents of CPC at Krofrom say they are terrified by the death of a young man who was crushed by a vehicle as he tried to flee from suspected robbers. They say Thursday morning's incident is a culmination of persistent attacks by criminal gangs in the area. Nanaya Ojima has been following up on this and reports.
Andrew Mensah, a resident, says he heard the victim shout for help.
I was in my room when I heard someone shout. They want to take my phone from me. When we came out, all we saw was a young man under an articulated truck. The truck had dragged him from where he was knocked down to another point. Later, we had to convey his remains into the bucket of a tricycle. It is sad.
Police later identified the deceased as Stephen Terrier, but residents say he was unknown to them. They suspect he may have been pursued from a long distance to the scene of the tragedy. Police are yet to establish what actually caused the accident, even though situation reports shows the victim was hit on the shoulder of the road. Many residents here have mounted burglar-proof metal or wooden structures across their windows to ward off criminals. Issa Adabila has been plying his trade as a tailor here at CPC for about 2 years. We live in fear. On a daily basis, we hear stories of crime. Once, they tried breaking into my shop. This mechanic shop has not been spared.
The robbers have been disturbing us here. They have been stealing radio and music systems in vehicles when we live here. It has affected our business as mechanics too. Every morning, we hear stories of robbery and it is disturbing. We arrest some, but they keep coming.
Police say no report of alleged robberies has come to their attention, but say they will intensify patrols. Nanaya Ojima reporting.
Let's stay a while longer in Kumasi. This time, customers of GN Savings and Loans, which was until recently GN Bank, are demanding payment of their deposits, failing which they would take the institution on. Some of them say their businesses are collapsing due to unsuccessful attempts last year to access their money. They are particularly aggrieved by management's silence over failure to pay them last August, despite promising to do so. Many of its customers in Kumasi have had a tough time trying to retrieve their deposits. Prince Apia has more in this report.
Government's latest banking sector reform has resulted in reduced number of banks in an effort to strengthen the system. The measures have, however, brought stress on innocent customers of some of the banks like GN Bank, now GN Savings and Loans. Many of its customers in Kumasi have had a tough time trying to retrieve their deposits.
Since August, anytime I go there, they told me there's no money. As I speak to you now, I'm traveling and I need the money to travel. When I went out in August, they told me to come in October. I went in October, they told me December. December 2, I came and they told me January, 2nd January, everything will be fine. And up to now, I've not even received one peso. Yesterday, I went there, I was crying, begging the manager that I need my money to travel. Up to now, I've not received a penny.
All I want to tell Pacos is that, please, we need our money. We are begging you to pay us our money.
What do they tell you when you go to the bank?
Yeah, I went there yesterday and then they told us that they don't have money. So unless maybe March. But me, I can't wait till that month. So I really need my money.
A frustrated customer told Love Business an insider at one of the branches had told him they can only get their money by agitating. Some teachers whose salaries are paid through GN Bank say their request for clearance letters to enable them changed banks has been ignored.
For a couple of months now, we've not been receiving our salaries. Even though government pays, GN will credit you and then they will take processing fee. But anytime you go there, they will tell you there's no money. Anytime you go, there's no money. Talk of November, the whole of November, they only gave me 200 Ghana from my branch, Kenya University. Out of frustration, we decided to engage the staff. Later, they show us a memo which says that on the 20th of December, they are going to pay every arrears. From that time till now, we are still not getting anything from them. I opened school on the 14th. Last week, I went there, begged them that I need something so they can transport me to my school. So date you go, they say there's no money.
They still receive messages every month indicating their salary has hit their account, from which the bank continues to deduct service charges. Local managers of the company have declined comment on the issue. Prince Apia reporting.
You're still listening to the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. Time to take a quick break, but stories making the headlines so far. Enskinment of new Dagbon King on the horizon as elders in Yendi prepare to announce their choice from 4 shortlisted personalities up for selection as the next Iyana. And as they prepare to bury him later today, family of slain Tiger IPI undercover investigator Ahmed Swale says his death will bring untold hardship on them as he was the breadwinner. Still to come, former second deputy governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Esiama, reviews how he and his family spent nights crying when he was forced to resign.
So we cried alone in the house. And there were days I wondered whether these people knew what I was going through in our family.
And later in the bulletin.
Hello, everyone. I'm Komla Dumont. It's a pleasure to be with you. I must first start by apologizing by not being physically present there with you.
Remembering Komla Afalika Dumont, the Ghanaian journalist who told the African story with passion. Thanks for staying with us here on the Midday News. It's time now for sports with one.
Yes, MF and Ghana's sole representative in Africa, that's Kumasi Asante Kotoko, are on the cusp of reaching the group stage of the CAF Confederation Cup for the first time in 11 years. The Porcupine Warriors host Cotton Sport from Cameroon in the second leg after winning the reverse fixture 3-2 in Yaoundé last week. Management has asked their fans to create an intimidating atmosphere inside the Baba Yara Stadium on the match day. And from what we gather, there will be a capacity crowd. Love FM's Kelvin Owusu has more.
We should expect a lot of people, and it's been wonderful to note that even before this game, fans are already asking for advance tickets, which cannot be sold, all because of measures that need to be put in place for CAF competitions. And then you listen to them, and they are really pleased with the 20 Ghana Cedi start, unlike the game before against the Kariobangi Sharks, where there were lots of complaints about the match tickets. I should expect that the current performance of Asante Kotoko and the victory from Cameroon should see a massive turnout at the Baba Yara Sports Stadium on Sunday.
There'll be more here. Also at 1 p.m. when the team joins you with Locker Room, George Addo Jr. will be here.
Thank you very much, Ridwan. Now, former second deputy governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Esiama, has rejected assertions that he resigned from the Bank of Ghana due to his involvement in embattled gold dealership firm Men's Gold. Dr. Esiama, in reaction to a statement made by Vice Chair of the NPP, Omari Wadie, that Dr. Esiama contributed to the Men's Gold saga while in office, disclosed that he was rather asked by Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta to resign. Speaking to Raymond Nakon upfront, the former deputy governor reviewed how he was forced to resign at a time that his family was going through very difficult times.
It was the Minister of Finance that called me. And what he told me that day was that the president, wants to appoint his own person in place of you.
Really?
Yes. And I remember what I said to him. I said, Honorable, if you asked my advice, if you asked me to advise the president, I would have told him something different. And so I said, since I had done 2 years, why don't you do it this way? Let me serve 1 more year. Is that okay? And then towards the end of the 3rd year, then I leave. And then I would say I'm leaving prior to end of term. Yeah. I'm taking my leave prior to end of term. And I said, the 1 year ahead, we could even work it in such a way that even if you don't want to have my hands in anything. But what he said was that the president, could not wait for that. So I just had to go.
Is that a normal procedure that the minister tells you the president says he wants you to go?
Well, I don't know. This is the first time this is happening, so I don't know. And honestly, it was a difficult time for us as a family. Because let me say, during that time, we were having a family tragedy.
Wow.
Yes. There were certain deaths in the family. We were actually in tears when all that was going on. And there were days I wondered whether these people knew what I was going through in our family.
Wow.
So we cried alone in the house. Wow. And yet, they were doing that.
You heard there the former second deputy governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Esiama, speaking to my colleague Raymond on Upfront. Now, capturing and killing of sea turtles has become a booming business in the Keta and South Tong districts, a situation officials say is forcing the species into extinction. Managers of the Keta Lagoon say they will prosecute anyone caught killing and selling sea turtles. Volta Regional Correspondent Ivy Setoji has more in the following report.
Sea turtles are becoming extinct, but many fishermen in Keta are ignorant about this reality. They capture and kill the creatures at a time the females deposit their eggs. The executive director of the non-governmental organization Development Institute, Ken Kinney, says it is time government made an effort to deal with the situation. Joy News visited Klo Toko in the Keta municipality. Most of the fishermen engaged in the turtle business are from here. According to Ken Kinney, the Office of the Wildlife in the area lacks basic equipment to work effectively. He believes government must, as a matter of urgency, help resource the office to fight the illegal activities in the area.
Wildlife office here is not resourced. They don't have logistics. They don't even have motorbikes to chase and cars to be able to chase people who are doing these activities. So we are appealing to Ghanaians, we are appealing to government to resource this particular office.
Ivy Setoji's report. Now, he's undoubtedly one of the best journalists the world, and for that matter, Ghana has ever had. Former BBC and Joy FM presenter Komla Apeke-Dumo wowed his audience with sheer wit and passion. Today, we here at Joy News remember our former colleague who died from a heart attack exactly 5 years ago in his home in London. So we bring you extracts of some of his shows on Joy FM and the BBC and from elsewhere.
Hello everyone, I'm Komla Dumont. It's a pleasure to be with you. I must first start by apologizing by not being physically present there with you. What's your training like? When you wake up in the morning, what time do you wake up? How do you start training?
5 o'clock I wake up.
5 o'clock.
My coach, Ninka, come and call me in my house. Seaside.
Hello everyone, welcome to Focus on Africa from BBC World News. My name is Komla Dumont. It's been an incredible 4 days here outside the Westgate Shopping Mall. Working for the BBC is quite an experience and I enjoy what I do. And we're here to talk about challenging conventional wisdom about Africa and the coverage of Africa, of course. But before we get into those issues, I want to give a shout out to my people who are here. Anyone from Nigeria here? All right. Fantastic. Arise, O come Petro. I'm a Ghanaian, by the way.
That's just the way it is. Things will never be the same. That's just the way it is.
5 years on, and he's still very much alive in our hearts. Komla Afaka Dumo, may his soul rest in perfect peace. It's time now to check out what's trending on social media maps. What are people talking about?
People are talking about Komla Dumo and hashtag JoyFM open mic, and at Mick_K says the greatest journalist of our time, hashtag Komla Dumo. And at F4_A says stomachs will be open, throats will be open, and so will the mic, hashtag JoyFM open mic.
And that's it for the midday news. There's more news when you log on to myjoyonline.com. Have a good weekend.
So everyone says I'm a Kosia filler, but it's not like I'm nosy or go out to find out the latest filler. It's just that I get 50 megabytes of data free after paying for only the first minute of every call. And so I just keep discovering stuff minute after minute. That's how come I was minding my business, scrolling through my timeline, and I found out Coco has a new baby. Oh, and last week I learned care